For question 1, just plug in the value of minus 5 and 3 into the expression. So P is equal to minus 5 squared minus 4 times 3. Put this on the calculator. P comes out to be 13. And then for the second one, we've got x squared minus 7x plus 5x minus 35. This simplifies to x squared minus 2x minus 35. Now for question 2, I need to start by finding the number of packets of pens and the number of boxes of pencils that will be bought. And to do that, I'll need to find the lowest common multiple of 9 and 12. To find the lowest common multiple, I'll need to convert 9 and 12 into products of prime numbers. 9 is 3 squared, 12 is 2 squared times 3. So the lowest common multiple of 9 and 12 is equal to 2 squared times 3 squared, which is equal to 36. So now I can find the number of packets and number of boxes of pens and pencils respectively. And to do that, I'll just divide the lowest common multiple by 9 and 12. So let's do that. So for the pens, 36 divided by 9 is equal to 4. And for the pencils, I've got 36 divided by 12 equals to 3. So I've got 4 packets of pens, 3 boxes of pencils. I know the cost for each one. So let's find the total cost. So for the pens, I have 4 times 760. This gives me 30.40. And for the pencils, I have 3 times 480. This gives me 14.40. Add this up and you'll get 40.80, which is the final answer. For question 3, I need to find the average speeds, and we know that speed is equal to distance over time. Now the distance is equal to 515, and I need to divide by the time. Note that the time is given us 3 hours and 18 minutes. I need to convert this either to a fraction or a decimal. So let's convert into a fraction. So this will be 3 and 18 over 60 hours. You can put this in the denominator, and there is a mixed fraction button on the calculator which you can use. So if you do that, you're going to get 156.0606 and so on. You need to give this to the nearest whole number, so the answer is 156 kilometers per hour. For question 4, I'll use the formula for the nth term of an arithmetic sequence, which is the following. Now, a is the first term. In our case, this is a 38. D is the common difference, and because I'm subtracting 7 each time, D is minus 7. So let's plug everything into the formula. 38 plus n minus 1 times minus 7. Let's expand 38 minus 7n plus 7. And if you simplify, you will get 45 minus 7n, which is the final answer. So for question 5, I'll start by finding the area of the trapezium in meters squared, convert to hectares, then divide the price by the number of hectares, and this will give you the final answer. So let's start with the area of the trapezium. This is the formula. It's given in the formula sheet. Let's substitute the numbers we have. 1 over 2 times 170 plus 330 times 240. This will give me 60,000 meters squared, and since 1 hectare is 10,000 meters squared, this is 6 hectares. So average price, it's 49,650 divided by 6. This will give you 8,275, and this is my final answer. For question 6, I'll start by finding the salary for the new job. Now this is equal to 14 times 7 hours times 5 days a week, which is 490 euros. So to find the percentage increase, I'll use the following formula. Plugging in the values will give me 490 minus 400 over 400 times 100. And if you put this on the calculator, it will come out to be 22.5% increase. For part B, I'll use the following formula. Now my final value, the new value, is equal to 23,030. I'm trying to find the initial one times the multiplying factor, and to find this one, let's note that I have a decrease by 6%. Therefore, my multiplying factor is 94 out of 100. That was a decrease from 100 to 94. As a decimal, this is 0.94. So this is what I need to multiply the initial one to get the final. Let's rearrange this one. So initial one will be the original one divided by the multiplier, which is 0.94. Put this on the calculator and you'll get 24,500 euros. For part A of question 7, you have to multiply the two powers. So this will give you 4 to the power of 0, which is equal to 1. And for part B, for the left-hand side, you have to add the two powers. So you get 3 to the minus 6 is equal to the right-hand side, 3 to the power of m. Therefore, m must be equal to minus 6. For part A of question 8, take the 9 to the other side. So minus 4x is greater than 8. And then divide by minus 4. Note that when you divide, you should flip the inequality sign because you're divided by a negative number. Therefore, x is less than minus 2. For part B, I'll need to define the three inequalities. Before doing so, let's find the corresponding equations of the three lines. The horizontal line is y is equal to 2. The vertical line is x equals to 6. And the diagonal one, if you notice, passes through the point 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, and so on. So it's the line y is equal to x. If you're not sure about this one way to find it is to find 2 points on that line. Let's take 0, 0, for example, and 8, 8. Let's work out the gradient. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get 8 minus 0 over 8 minus 0, which is 1. Therefore, we've got y equals 1x plus the y-intercept, which we know is equal to 0. So that's our line. Going back to the graph now, the shaded region is below the line y is equal to x, above the line y is equal to 2, and to the left of the line y is equal to 6. So the three inequalities are y less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6, and y more than or equal to 2. For question 9, we need to find the volume of the cylinder formed when I fold this shape. Now, to find the volume of a cylinder, we need the radius and the height. And to extract this information, I'll need the following triangle. So let's extract this triangle. I will redraw it down here. So I'll do two calculations here. One to find BC, which is the height of the cylinder, and then CD to find the circumference, and hence I'll find the radius. So sine of 32 is equal to opposite, which is BC, over the hypotenuse, which is 50. Therefore, BC is equal to 50 times sine of 32. Put this on the calculator. BC comes out to be 26.4, and so on. So this is my height. Since we know BC, there are multiple ways to find DC. You can either use trigonometry or you can use Pythagoras theorem now. I will proceed with the cos ratio, so cos of 32 degrees equals to DC over 50. So if something went wrong with BC, I will still get the right answer here. So DC is equal to 50 times cos 32. So put this on the calculator, the answer comes out to be 42.4 and so on. Now this is the circumference. I'm going to use the formula for the circumference to find the radius. So 42.4 is equal to 2 pi r. Divide 42.4 by 2 pi. R comes out to be 6.74 and so on. So now I have the radius, I have the height. Let's go work out the volume of the cylinder. So this is my cylinder, that is the height. So this is point B, this is point C. And when we created the cylinder, D came here to exactly the same point. So D and C are now attached. They are the same point. So let's write down the formula. Volume equals pi r squared h, so pi times 6.74 and so on squared times 26.4. Put this on the calculator, the answer comes out to be 3,790.97 and so on. We need this to three significant figures, so this is 3,790. For this type of questions, I always like to create a table to summarize my workings. You don't have to do that. You can just do the workings without the table, but that's the way I prefer to do it. So let's have the layout of my table. Now, I have a column for Monday to Friday, an extra one for Saturday and Sunday. And if you add these together, you get Monday to Sunday. Now the formula for the mean is equal to the sum over the number of observations. So I'll need 3 rows, one for the sum, one for n, and one for the mean. And now let's fill in the table with the information we have. For Monday to Friday, we have 5 days with a mean of 104. For Monday to Sunday, we have a total of 7 days with a mean of 127. And to go from the first column to the last column, there are 2 extra days, which are Saturday and Sunday. Now, the sum of the first 5 days is equal to 5 times 104, which comes out to be 520. Similarly, for Monday to Sunday, we've got 7 times 127, which comes out to be 889. So the difference between those two numbers, 889 minus 520, is equal to 369. And this is the total for Saturday and Sunday. Now we know that Saturday is equal to 132. So to find Sunday alone, we'll just do 369 minus 132, and the answer comes out to be 237 kilometers. For question 11, I'll start by applying the power 3 over 2 to each term individually. So here's my fraction line, and I've got m to the power of 6 to the power of 3 over 2 times k to the power of 10 to the power of 3 over 2 over 25 to the power of 3 over 2. Now for the top one, just multiply the powers. This will give you m to the power of 9, k to the power of 15 over, and then for the denominator, you can just put this on the calculator and get 125. Now, if you want to do the denominator manually, you can just recognize that 25 to the power of 3 over 2 is the square root of 25 and then power of 3. This will give you 125. For question 12, let's recognize the type of each graph. The first one is a quadratic. It's the family y is equal to x squared. Graph B is a negative reciprocal, so of the form y is equal to minus 1 over x. Graph C is a negative cubic, y is equal to minus x cubed. D is of the form y equals something over x squared. E is a positive cubic, y is equal to x cubed. And finally F is a positive reciprocal, y is equal to 1 over x. So let's have a look at our equations. The first one, y is equal to 10 over x squared, is D. Second one is a negative cubic, that is graph C. And the last one is a negative reciprocal, this is graph B. Question 13 involves an investment, so I'm going to use the following formula. Now the initial amount is 80,000. The final amount is 80,000 plus the interest received. And my multiplying factor should be raised to the power of 3 because we're talking about 3 years. Rearranging this gives me multiplying factor to the power of 3 equals to 86,051.25 over 80,000. And putting this on the calculator will give you 1.07689 and so on. Therefore, the yearly multiplying factor is equal to the cube root of the number I found above, which gives me 1.025. Now, an experienced student should recognize this one as an increase of 2.5%. If you can't see that, then you have to use the formula for the multiplying factor, which is the following. The k written here is basically the x in the question, and instead of plus or minus, I'm going to have a plus because I have an interest. This implies an increase, so I have the following: 1.025 is equal to 100 plus x over 100. And then cross multiply and solve for x to get x equals 2.5 as I found above. For question 14, I'll start by putting these numbers in ascending order. Now the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. I have 11 observations. Now there are two ways to do that, one with the formula and one by observation. I'll start with the easy one, which is by observation. Just observe that the middle value is the sixth one, that's the 26th, and this divides the whole list into two subgroups, the left and the right. And from the left one, the left 5 numbers, the middle one is 22. That's my Q1. And from the right subset, 28 is the middle one. So this is Q3. And the difference between 22 and 28 is equal to 6. That's my interquartile range. If you want to use a formula, you have to do the following. For Q3, I need 3/4 of n, which is 11. This is 8.25. And I'm gonna round up, always round up. And this implies that I'm gonna take the 9th observation, and the 9th observation is equal to 28. Similarly, Q1 is 1/4 of 11, which is equal to 2.75. Always round up, hence I need the 3rd observation, which is 22. And if you do this subtraction, you'll get a 6, just like I did before. For part B, recall that higher consistency is being implied by lower interquartile range. And in this case, Akari has a lower interquartile range therefore these scores are more consistent. For question 15, it's better to visualize this problem using a tree diagram, and since I spin the coin 3 times, I'll have 3 sets of branches. Every time I spin the coin, I have a probability, let's call it P, of getting a head, and a probability 1 minus P of getting a tail. And these values occur in every branch. Now I'm given that the probability of landing on head 3 times is 27 over 64, which means that the product of these 3 branches is equal to 27 over 64. As I said before, each branch has the same numbers, so these 2 numbers will be P and P. Therefore, P to the power of 3 is 27 over 64. P is equal to the cube root of 27 over 64, which is 3 over 4. Now, if P is 3 over 4, it means that 1 minus P is equal to 1 over 4. And what I require is the probability of getting 3 tails, which means I want 1 over 4 times 1 over 4 times 1 over 4. So 1 over 4 to the power of 3 gives me 1 over 64, which is my final answer. For question 16, I need to rationalize the denominator, so I'll multiply both numerator and denominator by square root of 3 plus 1. So this will give me the following: 2 square root of 3 times square root of 3 plus 1. And then in the denominator, I get the following: square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. Then these 2 products will give me root 3 and minus root 3, and they will cancel out. And then from this expansion, I will get minus 1. Let's simplify the denominator. It gives a 2, and I'm going to rewrite the numerator because the 2 will cancel out. And if I expand the bracket, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3 plus square root of 3, and that's the final answer. In question 17, let's start by removing the cube root from the right hand side. So we get y to the power of 3 is equal to 6 plus 5x over x plus 4. Then I'm going to cross multiply, so y to the power of 3 times x plus 4 is equal to 6 plus 5x. Then I'll proceed to expand the right hand side, so I get x y to the power of 3 plus 4y to the power of 3 equals 6 plus 5x. Then I'll collect all the terms that have an x on the left hand side and all the terms without the x on the right hand side. So x y to the power of 3 minus 5x equals 6 minus 4y to the power of 3. And now I'm going to factorize the left hand side, take out a factor of x, and then I'll have y cubed minus 5. The right hand side stays the same. Therefore, to leave x on its own, I'm going to divide both sides by that bracket. So 6 minus 4y to the power of 3 over y cubed minus 5, and that's the final answer. Note that this is equivalent to the following, which is also an acceptable answer. For question 18, I'm going to use the following formula: PB times PA equals to PC times PD. So let's start by writing that formula down. So let's replace the numbers I've got into this formula. 14 times, and for PA, I've got 16 plus 14, which is 30, is equal to PC, which is 12, times PD, which is 12 plus x. Let's expand and simplify. 420 is equal to 144 plus 12x. Let's subtract the 144. 276 is equal to 12x. And finally, if I divide, I'm going to get 276 over 12, which simplifies to 23 centimeters. I'll start question 19 by drawing a Venn diagram. Now let X be the number of adults that opted for breakfast and dinner. So I've got 19 minus X just for breakfast and 15 minus X just for dinner, and 4 that are outside B and D. And if I add all those numbers, I should get a 30. The left-hand side simplifies to 38 minus X. And then if I solve this one, X comes out to be 8. So now I can finish off my Venn diagram. Now I need to find the probability that the 2 adults selected, they each booked breakfast and dinner. Now note, when I select an adult, I cannot select the same adult twice. So it's as if I'm selecting without replacement. So this probability will be equal to 8 over 30 times 7 over 29, which once simplified gives me 28 over 435. For question 20, I need to find angle ABC, which is this one. Now I have a tangent, and I'm going to use the alternate segment theorem, which states the following, that this angle here that the tangent makes with BC is equal to the angle BAC, which is this one. So this angle here is 78 by the alternate segment theorem. Now AB and BC are equal. So these two angles are equal because they are the angles at the base of an isosceles triangle. So BCA is also 78 degrees. And I have a triangle. I know 2 of the sides. I need the third one. So I will write down ABC is equal to 180 minus 78 plus 78. Put that on the calculator and you get an angle of 24 degrees. I'll start question 21 by rearranging the first equation to get y on its own. So I get y equals 2x plus 1. Then I will proceed and replace the y's in the second equation with this expression here. So I'll get 2x plus 1 squared plus x times 2x plus 1 equals to 7. Now let's expand the brackets. 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 plus 2x squared plus x is equal to 7. Let's take everything to the left and simplify. So I get 6x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. And now I will need to solve this quadratic equation. I can do that with various methods. I can factorize, I can use the quadratic formula or complete the square. I will proceed with factorization. So I'll get 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. This will give me 2x values, x equals minus 3 over 2 or x equals 2 over 3. And now I'm going to replace each of those x's into that blue equation I had above, this one, to get my y values. So the first one will give me a y equals to minus 2, and the second one will give me 7 over 3. So the coordinates of the points of intersection are minus 3 over 2, minus 2, and 2 over 3, 7 over 3. For question 22, I'll need to work with triangle EDB, which is this triangle here. Now this is a right angle triangle, and the hypotenuse of that is B, which is the one I need to find. But before finding that, I'll need to find the side BD, and to find BD, I'll use this triangle ADB. So let's extract that blue triangle at the bottom. So BD squared is equal to 4 squared plus 15 squared this comes out to be 241. So bin D is equal to the square root of 241. As I said before, this is the base of the red triangle. And now if I extract that red triangle from before, I'll get the following. And I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem again to find BE. So BE squared is equal to 9 squared plus square root of 241 squared. This gives me 322. So BE is equal to the square root of 322. Put that on the calculator. The answer will come out to be 17.9, correct to 3 significant figures. For part B, I'll start with the following triangle. I know that the base PR is 42. I'm going to use this one to find the height of that triangle, which is UR. So let's extract that triangle at the bottom. And to find UR, I'm going to use trigonometry. Tan of angle 30 is equal to opposite, which is UR, over the adjacent, which is 42. So UR is equal to 42 times tan of 30. You can use your calculator for this and get 14 square root of 3. No need to simplify this. Let's go back to the shape. I need to find the angle UMR, where M is the midpoint of PR. So I need the following triangle, UMR. That's the triangle I need. So let's extract that triangle as well. Note that MR is 21. This is half of this one because M is the midpoint of PR. So using trigonometry again, I have tan of angle M equals to the opposite side over the adjacent. So M is equal to the inverse tan of this number. So you can use the calculator and get an answer of 49.1 degrees, correct to 3 significant figures. For question 23, note that I have got an arithmetic sequence. In an arithmetic sequence, we keep adding the same number. Let's call this number D. So going from 8p to 7p minus 3, you added D. And then going from 7p minus 3 to the next term, you also add D. And this D must be the same. So from the first two terms, I can say that 8p plus D must be equal to 7p minus 3. Therefore, D is equal to minus p minus 3. Similarly, from the second and third terms, I get that 7p minus 3 plus D is equal to 4p plus 2. If you rearrange, D comes out to be minus 3p plus 5. And now you have two simultaneous equations, which we must solve together to find the value of D and the value of A. A is the first term, so minus p minus 3 is equal to minus 3p plus 5. 2p comes out to be 8, so p is equal to 4. Therefore, if I replace this p into one of the two equations, 1 or 2, I will get D is equal to minus 7, and I know that A is equal to 8p, therefore A is equal to 32. So now I can use the formula for the sum of the first n terms. So n over 2 times 2 times 32 plus n minus 1 times minus 7 must be equal to minus 1914. Let's simplify what is inside the square bracket. N over 2, 64 minus 7n plus 7 is equal to minus 1914. I'll further simplify the square bracket and also multiply both sides by 2, so I get n 71 minus 7n is equal to minus 3,828. Now let's expand the bracket. 71n minus 7n squared is equal to minus 3828. And I'm going to take everything to one side. So 7n squared minus 71n minus 3828 is equal to 0. Now I need to solve that quadratic equation. You can do that by factorization, completing the square, or using the quadratic formula. I will factorize and get 7n plus 132 n minus 29 is equal to 0. So I get two n values. N is equal minus 132 over 7, or n is equal to 29. Now n must be a positive integer, so reject the first solution. So n is equal to 29. In question 24, notice that I have to do with spheres, and spheres are always similar. Therefore, I will use the methods I use whenever I have similar shapes. And whenever I have similar shapes, I always start by creating a table. Now, from the information I'm given, A is the larger sphere and B is the smaller sphere. So I will let K be the scale factor going from B to A. And for the area, the scale factor is K squared. And for the volume, the scale factor is K to the power of 3. Now I'm given in the question that the area of A is 9 times the area of B, which means K squared is equal to 9. And if K squared is 9, then K must be 3. Therefore, K to the power of 3 is equal to 3 to the power of 3, which is equal to 27. Therefore, I can write down the following equation. Volume of A is equal to 27 times the volume of B. Now I'm given that the difference between the volumes is equal to 117 pi. Therefore, VA minus VB is equal to 117 pi. So now I can solve this equation simultaneously. So I'm gonna replace VA with 27 VB. Let's do that. 27 VB minus VB is 117 pi. So 26 times VB is 117 pi. So VB is equal to 9 over 2 pi. Next, I'm going to use the formula for the volume of a sphere, which is the following. And together with the volume I found, 9 over 2 pi, I'm going to set up another equation where R is equal to the radius of the smaller sphere. And this is what I'm trying to find. So if I divide 9 over 2 pi by 4 over 3 pi, this will give me R to the power of 3. Put this on the calculator. R to the power of 3 will come out to be 27 over 8. And if you take the cube root of this number, you will have the final answer, which is 1.5 centimeters. For question 25, let's draw a rough diagram. Now the equation y minus 2x equals to 7 can be written as y is equal to 2x plus 7. So we can recognize that the gradient of that line is equal to 2. Now this is the line y is equal to 2x plus 7. I'm given that AB is perpendicular to this line, and whenever I have perpendicular lines, the following thing applies. Therefore, the gradient of AB is equal to minus 1 over 2. Now, using the coordinates of A and B, I'm going to create an equation using the formula for the gradient, which is the following. So I get K minus 7 over 6 minus J is equal minus 1 over 2. Let's cross multiply. So 2k minus 14 is equal minus 6 plus j. And if I rearrange, I will get 2k minus 8 is equal to j. So this is one of the two equations that I'm gonna have to solve simultaneously. To find the second equation, I'm gonna use the midpoint formula, which is the following. So with a and b, the midpoint is j plus 6 over 2 and 7 plus k over 2. Now I know that the midpoint lies on the line y is equal to 2x plus 7. Therefore, I can create the following equation. So let's replace x and y with the coordinates of the midpoint. 7 plus k over 2 is equal to 2 times j plus 6 over 2 plus 7. So let's solve this one. Before solving, I will cross out the 2 and the over 2. So I get 7 plus k over 2 is equal to j plus 13. Let's cross multiply. 7 plus k is equal to 2j plus 26. And finally, I'm going to leave k on its own. So k is equal to 2j plus 19. And this is the second equation that I'll have to solve with equation 1. I will solve this by substitution, and I'm going to substitute k in the first one by 2j plus 19. So 2 times 2j plus 19 minus 8 is equal to j. Expand the brackets. 4j plus 38 minus 8 is equal to j. So 3j is equal minus 30. J is equal to minus 10. Replace this j into equation 2. So k is equal 2 times minus 10 plus 19. So k comes out to be minus 1. So now all that is left is to take this formula and replace the values of j and k I found. So minus 10 plus 6 over 2, comma 7 minus 1 over 2. Simplify this to get minus 2, 3, and these are the coordinates of the midpoint. Question 26 involves a transformation on the cosine graph. And if you have a look at the given equation, you're going to see there are 3 letters there, A, B, C, and each one of those corresponds to a transformation. Now, 2 of them are vertical transformations. A is a stretch by a scale factor of A along the y-axis, and plus C is a translation of C units on the y-axis. The B in front of the X corresponds to a stretch along the x-axis by a scale factor of 1 over b. So basically we are dividing the x-coordinates by b. To find the values of a, b, c, I will need to consider the original cosine graph, and let's draw this one down here. Note that this graph has a maximum height of 1 and a minimum of minus 1, and this implies that the height is equal to 2 units. And the period of this graph is the horizontal distance between the two peaks. It's the number of units it takes to cover a whole cycle, and in our case, this is 360 degrees. Now, on the given graph, you're going to see that successive peaks have a horizontal distance of 120 degrees, which implies that the original period was divided by 3, therefore the value of b is equal to 3. Now, if I have a look at the vertical height of this graph, you're going to notice it goes from minus 1 to 3. So it has a height of 4 units. And going from a height of 2 units to a height of 4 units means I have stretched the graph by a scale factor of 2. Therefore, the value of A is equal to 2. Now, a stretch by a scale factor of 2 would make this minus 1 into a minus 2, this one into a 2. Therefore, I will have 4 units height as this one, but to go from minus 2, 2 to a minus 1, 3, it implies I have to translate my graph 1 unit up, and this is the value of C. Now, if you want a more algebraic way for finding A and C, take the maximum and minimum heights, multiply those by A at C and C where they correspond. So maximum of 1, if I multiply this by A and at C, it will become a 3. Minimum is minus 1 multiplied by A and at C, it's gonna stay minus 1, and solve those two simultaneously. So if I add those two equations, this will cancel out. 2C is equal to 2, so C is equal to 1. Substitute into the first equation, so A plus C equals to 3. A comes out to be 2.